What's up, people? It's Daryl here from How Daryl Rolls. This is part two of my little travel blog, spur of the moment trip to Vancouver, British Columbia. As if you followed my previous episode, basically my friend was driving out for work and I just asked if I could hop in the car and come along for a random trip to see all my awesome BC friends, skate some mountains, hit some slopes, and well, here I am. Luckily, some skate friends allow me to stay at their place, helping me out, make sure I'm not spending all my money on Airbnbs where, I'm not really allowed to do anything and got to sit there with a mask on or whatever fun stuff. But anyways, I'm here in Vancouver, BC, and life is fantastic. Staying at a skate house, awesome people. And the other day, I went snow skating on Cypress Resort or Cypress Mountain. Wow, that's all I've got to say. Like, wow. As you hopefully know, unless you're new to this channel, I'd like to do a fair bit of snow skating, and I like to try to find the steepest stuff possible and as like hard to do backcountry stuff as possible. But of course, that's in Manitoba, and my runs are lucky to last about 10 seconds or more. So I was a little worried whether or not those skills would translate onto a mountain in British Columbia. And for the most part, yes. Just goes to show that if you visualize and kind of challenge yourself in situations, maybe even if it's on a 10-second downhill, you can create those situations where you're giving yourself the skills to handle something more serious so that when you go on a trip like this, you don't die, which I'm a big fan of not dying. So basically, I was out on my Land Yachts LY Snow Mackenzie, and luckily the day started off a little slushy. We were worried about there being ice because it was very windy, but turns out it started dumping snow on top of us and it turned into a beautiful powder day by the end of the day. So it was the perfect day to be taking out my Mackenzie. And I was there with Raggie English as well as Kat. I don't know Kat's last name, but she kicks butt and is like one of the number one women's longboarders at the moment. She was kicking butt at Danger Bay, or won the last Danger Bay, I believe. And they were both out there. They realized I was in Vancouver and they decided to do a little trip to Cypress Mountain. And I'm eternally grateful for them driving me there because I don't think I could have rented a car and driven up that road. I would have been terrified. But we get out there and, first we're like, okay, let's just do some warm-up laps. And I'm just getting the feel for it. But honestly, I was able to keep up with these guys. Like, maybe not always Reggae. When he really wants to go, he can go extremely fast. And that was with a very unwaxed ski, whereas mine was like twice as slippery and I'm still just barely keeping up with him. But for the most part, I managed to handle my own up until my board started icing over. And yeah, I was actually really amazed at how I was able to take the skills that I'd learned in Manitoba on such short runs and actually make it work in British Columbia on some pretty serious runs. And I actually even took a blue run by accident, not intentionally, but I managed to survive, did the whole, carving back and forth thing to control my speed as opposed to just like going straight down, which, I was, carving up the green runs too, because it was, especially once the snow started really coming down, things started turning into like almost mogul runs. And at that point, it's like you start going too fast, your feet start going off the foam, and you gotta like stay on board while trying not to wipe out. My knees are basically solid bruises right now, and my muscles are, feel like I get ran over by a truck from like managing all of that, like just pushing that snow back and forth as you're going down the runs. At a few points, I honestly just felt like I couldn't move my legs anymore, and I just butt boarded on the snow skate. For the most part, everyone was absolutely amazed at me doing that. One guy was about to stop me, and then he realized I was carving back and forth using the ski on the bottom, and he thought I was just completely out of control. And then he realized I was completely in control, and he was like impressed. And he was one of the ski instructor guys, so that was a good thing. Minus one of the lift guys who really got mad when I would butt board off the ski lift, especially when I'd accidentally put a foot down and leave a big divot in the off ramp. And at first I didn't understand what the big problem was with me butt boarding down until I realized that they have to like redo that ramp every single time, and it causes a bunch of work. And then I kind of understood why he was upset. But, I did my best to try to stand and ride off. There's just quite a few times I fell over and like almost knocked Kat and Raggie over. So that was pretty fun. And while we were there, we actually discovered some tree runs, which I think, Raggie said he wasn't even aware that they were there. So he's going to let one of our other snowboarding and snow skating buddies let him know, because they were extremely fun. But basically it was along the left side of a green run, and you'd find these little gaps going into the trees, and people had built these like rolling little hills to like crazy banked corners. Man, we got tossed a few times, almost ran into each other a bunch, but boy were those fun. We're actually potentially going to be going back on Friday, so hopefully I'm going to hit those again. Maybe I'll set up a nicer camera if it's not pouring snow, and try to take some better shots. But honestly, I'm pretty worried about falling on top of my cameras, because I fell a lot. Snow skating is not easy. Let's be honest here. It's not an easy thing to stay on a snow skate, especially when you start pushing those higher speeds. But maybe if we get clear skies, I'll be able to turn on my GPS, and we'll see how fast I'm actually going, because it felt really, really fast. There's a few times where like Raggie couldn't even catch up with me. Mind you, my ski was freshly waxed and his was kind of lacking wax. But I would just like glide over top of all the bumps, barely staying on board, just like, ah! So yeah, that was pretty crazy. But yeah, Raggie saved the day, basically managed to pull out his camera, film some awesome shots of me. As you guys know, I do a lot of self-filming or filming of others, so someone filming me is just like the greatest thing in the world, because I don't get that pleasure very often. I'm always the guy behind the camera, or setting up a camera and then just riding by and getting one single shot from an entire run. So that was extremely awesome. And obviously if I've edited in that footage in amongst me talking about these runs, well, then you've seen it there. He is definitely one of the better known filmers in the longboard world. Always a guy willing to ride down a hill with a crazy gimbal attached to his head or a stick while riding close to people. He's one of the OGs that has been like up there in the world championships. He's known to be one of the skaters like back in Maryhill. I remember pictures and videos of him next to Striker and Scoot, as Scoot won the world championships back in the day. Like Raggie is an OG, but not only is that, he is a stand-up guy that always is willing to like go give rides to people, show them to local skate spots, just be a leading example of what community is. And honestly, he's one of the original people that inspired the whole thing about what I'm doing with Skate Hive, trying to like build community, and in my case use Web3 and cryptocurrencies and all that stuff to take the value of community and turn it into something more practical, where we actually turning into money. Of course, I'm not a financial expert, so make sure you do your own research and not think of me as a financial expert. But the point being is that we're at an era where understanding value is no longer just monetary value, but we can transmute this form of value into monetary value as a side effect of creating things of value, and thus support ourselves. Obviously, if you've been following the channel, you will know that we're coming out with our own platform very soon that's going to be built on top of the existing one, Hive. This is going to come out with our new token called Stoken. And the whole point of this is both if you are creating Stoke and if you are sharing the Stoke, you can be rewarded with our Stoke token, the Stoken. And this will allow communities to basically sponsor content creators and work collectively to elevate athletes to the next level where they can support themselves, their race careers, whatever type of career they're doing for their different sport, as well as allow sports communities to empower themselves to put on events, close down roads, get regulations, pay for, permits and all those things. So we're hoping to elevate the sports community. So hopefully you like what I'm doing, and hopefully you can do it too by joining our community on Skate Hive. We also got a Discord, and if you join me on Hive, I'll make sure to give you some upvotes if you comment or create your own content, which just happens to be worth some cryptocurrency, which just happens to be worth some money. So I think that's the most recent update on my wonderful trip that is here. Currently it is raining outside a lot, so I'm not doing any longboarding, and I'm too sore to do some snow skating, so we're going to give it a little bit of time. But in the meantime, I'm working on Stoken. I'm in the Discord, so hit me up there. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Comment below, like, subscribe, all those things that help my social media go up, because if you like this content, I hope you support it, because more people need to see this thing. And, like we got people in like Greece, Brazil, Philippines, who are basically making a living off of skateboarding. I think that can be life-changing to so many people. And we're growing, but our numbers are extremely small. Could you imagine if we had even half the numbers that one of those Facebook skateboard or longboard groups had? Boom. That's exactly it. So it's best to not wait around till this is the popular trend and you're following along. It's best to think with your heart, think with your rational mind, join something that is not owned and controlled by a giant corporation, is run and owned and controlled by skaters like yourself. Join, be a part of the community, you'll be rewarded, and in the end, we'll hopefully create something better. So, peace out, hive on, take care.
Yeah. Oh. Whoa.